I have 5 kids with my ex-wife, ages 9 to 17. My ex-wife was a cheater, user, and a proven terrible mother due to me winning custody of my kids during our separation. Long story why courts gave custody to me. During our separation and before winning custody, I gave my wife our house while she kept the kids, and I lived with my cousin, working my butt off to provide for the kids, as I always did during our marriage. During our separation, I met Angel, an incredibly kind, loving woman. We fell in love, I won custody, and my kids and I moved into my wife's house, and this Angel has raised 3 kids as her own from the get-go. Financial support, a new home, belongings, respect, and care. And after we divorced, my ex-wife completely dropped out the kids' life. Not a Christmas card or a birthday card. I never stopped her from contacting them once. She just abandoned them, really. My kids have been acting like a-holes, though. One day my son came up to me whining, saying my wife was treating him mean. I asked what he meant, asked my wife what happened. It turned out she didn't let him eat a second dose of dessert after dinner, pulling small stuff like that to get between the two of us. They eat her leftovers. My daughters will go into her bathroom and take curling irons or whatnot without asking or returning, completely being disrespectful to this woman who is busting her butt. We both work to care for a new set of 5 kids. I sat them down, told them this is going to stop right here, right now. Told them to respect her stuff. And I said all along the way, let me tell you, this woman comes first. She has shown nothing to indicate she ever will or ever has hurt you or harm you. I love you. I'll protect you. But one day, you will all grow and go. And I'm not going to be left alone in old age because you guys drove us apart, which starts with silly things like this to do so. My marriage comes first. You tell me, am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. I can throw you out, but I can't throw her out quite the same way. What the duck? Who says stuff like that? Oh, and apparently, despite your ex being a proven terrible mother, you still went ahead and had 5 kids with her because that makes sense. You're the a-hole. Also, it sounds like kids being kids. My daughter comes and uses my hair care all the time. She will ask for seconds for dessert, and my son takes my leftovers all the time. Do I wish they asked first? Yes. Are they kids? Yes. They do it to me because they know I love them, and I won't get really mad. You told your kids, who were abandoned by a parent, that they weren't a priority. Way to be a jerk. You're the a-hole. You telling them that they are second to your new wife, marriage, is only going to make them feel abandoned by you as well as on top of literally being abandoned by their mom. Sure, you could have sat them down and told them to respect stepmom's things and have basic courtesy by asking for, returning her stuff. You blew it way out of proportion by literally telling them they don't matter to you as much as she does. You just added even more emotional damage on top of what they are going through because their mother left. Biggest a-hole ever. You need to sit your kids down, sincerely apologize to them, and get some ducking therapy. For context, I'm 19 female, and my half-sister is 36 female. She has a partner, 39 male, as well as 3 kids, 14 female, 13 male, and 5 female. We've never been close due to our large age gap, so growing up, I had felt like an only child. My half-sister had always lived in her own home, whilst I always lived with our mother, who was a single parent. In September of last year, I left for my first year of university, but I practically dropped out when my mother was diagnosed with cancer and returned home. She passed in June. My mother did not leave a will, so it was decided that her life insurance, pension, and money from the sale of her car would be split evenly between me and my sister. That all went according to plan, leaving only her apartment. The apartment was rented from a social housing association. It was decided that I would succeed the tenancy, because otherwise I would have had nowhere to stay during the summer. My sister reassured me at the beginning of my tenancy that everything in the apartment belonged to me, and that I could do whatever I saw fit with the furniture once I gave up the apartment and moved back to my university city. Side note, I grew up in that apartment, and all the furniture and appliances in the house me and my mother accumulated together. My sister never lived there or contributed towards anything. Fast forward a bit. My sister asks if I could give her the fridge, washing machine, and my bedroom furniture, all brand new. I told her that I would be more than happy to let her take them if she gives me a hand with clearing my apartment out. I also asked her kindly if she could upload some photos of my furniture to Facebook Marketplace because I didn't have Facebook. She agreed. Yesterday she texted me and told me that a family was interested. I told her to give them my contact details, and the family came to my house today and took everything minus the brand new appliances, furniture that my sister wanted, paying me £280. I told my sister, and she demanded that I give her half of the money, lecturing me on the fact that we agreed to half everything. I told her no way, because the furniture I sold was mine. My sister ended up blowing up on me, telling me that I have lost all self-respect and that I must pay. I stayed firm, so she ended the conversation by telling me that she's disgusted with me and that she couldn't believe that I would do this to her and to not contact her again. Cut to the evening of the same day. Her partner texted me. He threatened me with court, boasting that nothing in the apartment was mine and that everything actually belonged to them. He also spouted that they were going to call the police because by keeping the money, I was stealing from them. I told him that he was wrong, which made him even more aggressive. He threatened to come to the house and began insulting me. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She never lived there and supposedly gave it to you. She has no say over it. If she wanted this stuff, she would have taken it by now. Hell, now keep the other stuff you promised her. They will pay more in court fees and for a lawyer than the money and stuff is worth. Teach them a lesson about greed. Not the a-hole. Her boyfriend has absolutely nothing to do with this. He should mind his own business. Your sister sounds like a greedy person and probably is being advised by her boyfriend. She has no right to your bedroom furniture. I'd get some legal advice because her boyfriend sounds like a troublemaker. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry such a small sum has brought out such an ugly side of your sister. That being said, if everything is half yours as well, force the sale of the item she has requested, split the sum evenly, and you'll likely walk with more cash, and she gets just enough to maybe buy one of the items she would have gotten for free. If you're feeling generous, I'd let her know that half of the money from that sale is going towards the item she requested, but didn't buy you out of. She can either get the items or the money, but not both. If this was me, I'd sell everything, give her half, and never speak to her again. I, 31 male, have a 7-year-old daughter with my ex-wife Carly, 30 female. Carly and me have had a wonderful co-parenting relationship since we divorced 5 years ago. She was my best friend, and we met in high school. To make it easier on my daughter, I've always allowed Carly free access to hang out during my time. I haven't been dating since the divorce, so it hasn't been an issue. Carly has a room in my basement she's allowed to crash at. The reason we split is mundane. Carly started developing friendships with what I would consider duck girls. They were players, drank heavy, cheated on their boyfriends all the time. I didn't like who she was spending time with. Birds of a feather, they say. She kept going out with them despite my concerns. Final straw came when her sister had an affair. I asked Carly if she knew and hid it. Carly admitted that she did know. I asked to see her phone. She wouldn't, so we divorced. The past few months I've started dating. My girlfriend and Carly met a month ago. They've hung out a few times since. All was good until Carly says she no longer wants my girlfriend around our daughter because my girlfriend asked inappropriate questions about our daughter. The questions weren't weird, just parenting boundaries and medical info. I told her to drop it. Then I started getting screenshots of Facebook posts from Carly's mom, bashing me and saying it's awful how men pick women over their kids. I sent Carly the post and she promised to take it down. I said I no longer want her mom around our kid due to this. A couple days later, her mom posts again, talking about how she's getting her grandkid taken away from her because my girlfriend doesn't like her. Once again, sent it to Carly. This time, she makes excuses of how her mom is sick and she doesn't want to stress her out. I said her mom is bat crap crazy, not sick, so handle it. Then Carly's sister starts posting on the whole situation, airing me out and went as far as to mention my girlfriend by name. I told Carly that it was enough and I will be taking her to court, because now I have proof they are bashing me on social media. God knows what they would say in person. She got really pissed and said she is trying, but her family is tough to manage. I said then maybe the court can manage them. Carly said she would try. 2 days go by and the posts are still up. I'm getting messages from mutual friends and family asking what is going on. Highly embarrassed at this point. I texted Carly that I will be taking her to court and she needs a lawyer. She tried calling and left a voicemail crying and saying she is trying. But her mom and sister are stubborn, but also said the posts aren't even that bad and will be forgotten. I said not gonna happen and have started calling a lawyer. My girlfriend is totally on my side and thinks what I'm doing is best. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole because you keep lashing out at Carly for other people's actions before and after your marriage. Divorced her because her friends liked to party and her sister cheated. Now you are trying to alienate her as a mother and take full custody of the kid because you dislike Carly's family. Also, Carly does have a right to question why a new girlfriend is asking medical questions in regards to her child. I know you want to think positive about your relationship, but are you going to marry your girlfriend soon? If not, then wait a bit of time before having them involved with the kid like that. You have no grounds for a suit. They aren't threatening you or defaming you, just stating an opinion. You can try, but I don't think you'd get a lawyer to even take you on as a client. You may not like it, but you can't control it. Not the a-hole. It's one of the biggest rules in timesharing. You don't bash the ex or talk badly around them in front of the kids. If Carly's mom and sister are doing this on a public forum, you know they are doing it in front of their family and potentially your daughter. Definitely consult with an attorney. I, 42 male, split from my ex, 36 female, about 11 years ago when our daughter was 3 months old. I basically didn't see either of them for a year because of my ex being melodramatic about the whole thing and moving in with her parents who never liked me. Finally, we agreed that from the time our daughter was 2, I would have every other weekend for 4 days. At the time, I was in a lot of debt. I had just bought a third rental with my parents, and she agreed to not request child support in exchange for me not fighting for 50-50. However, she is now a plastic surgeon, who I've been told through mutual friends makes a lot of money. I asked her about this recently, and she said it was none of my business. Frankly, I think it is. She still has the same crappy old Nissan, and I found out by looking at property records that she has bought the crappy flat she used to rent. Clearly, she did this to hide how much money she's making for me, so she doesn't have to pay child support. I pointed this out to her, and she got irate with me and said, why should she pay me child support when I never did? And I said it's completely different. I was in debt. She isn't. I found a calculator online for child support that suggests, based on how much plastic surgeons in my area make, she should be paying me at least $800 a week. I printed off this info and put it in my daughter's backpack where I knew my ex would find it when she picked up our daughter. My ex called me on Tuesday and went off at me for involving our daughter. Apparently, she found the forms in her bag before my ex did and got upset, so now she's refusing to see me. My ex says she's going to take me to court and has blocked me on all communication except email and has CC'd her lawyer into the last couple. I think she's being completely unreasonable. Child support is for the good of the child after all. I don't think I'm the a-hole here. You're the a-hole. You think you're going to get child support on having your child 8 days a month? Good luck. You're the a-hole. You have the child for what, 8 days a month? And you think that entitles you to $3,200 a month? Your wife's a plastic surgeon, not an NBA player. Did it ever occur to you that your wife is paying off heavy student loans for the education and training she got while you were going into debt on rentals? No. You agreed not to fight for 50-50 custody so that you wouldn't have to pay child support. I don't see anything here about your custody agreement changing, so why on earth do you think you're owed anything at all? Just because your ex-wife has money now and you still don't? You're just going for the cash grab. You can't even pretend you want to spend more time with your daughter. Wow, you're the a-hole. P.S. Maybe your wife doesn't care about having a fancy car or renting a fancy apartment. Maybe her old car still runs fine, and buying her flat was a more sensible choice than upgrading, but continuing to rent. Maybe you're just big mad because she knows how to stay out of debt. I have an older half-brother, Rory. We share the same dad. I live with my mom and stepdad. Rory comes to see me regularly, and we usually go out together. I'm 15, Rory is 24, and I have 2 stepsisters, 11 and 9. A few months ago, some valuable items were stolen from our house. Some jewelry, my stepdad's expensive watches, and some cash. They immediately accused Rory of doing it and banned me from seeing him or talking to him. I defended Rory, and I was grounded as a result. The accusation was false because that day Rory picked me up outside and never came in, but they didn't believe me and accused me of lying to protect him. The police had no reason to believe it was my brother, and they didn't even consider him a suspect. About 2 weeks ago, the thief was found out as he did the same thing at a relative's house, and they had security cameras and eventually confessed to stealing from us as well. It obviously was not Rory. It was my stepdad's nephew, who had somehow copied his key without him noticing and used it to break in when nobody was home. I'm angry about all of this, and I asked them to apologize to both me and Rory for their false accusations, which my mom said she's happy to do, but my stepdad said no and told me I just have to learn to move on. Later that day, I reminded him to be extra careful about his keys when he visits his relatives, to be sure nobody steals it, and he wouldn't end up accusing people I love for no reason. This morning, he was looking for his sunglasses and couldn't find it, and I suggested that maybe I should help him find it before he goes to accuse someone innocent of stealing it. He looked at me and told me to stop being rude. My mom talked to me and told me that I should stop being an a-hole about it and apologize for not letting us move on from the unfortunate incident. I don't see why I should not advise caution when my family will be the scapegoat if things go wrong. Am I the a-hole for expecting an apology and not moving on until I get it? Not the a-hole. Why is it on you and Rory, the wronged parties in this scenario, to make nice and move on? Rory was slandered to the whole family. He could have been arrested if the cops were less conscientious. You were punished for providing him an alibi and not doing anything wrong. Yes, your stepfather acted abominably and owes you and Rory apologies. You should not be expected to let this go because your stepdad did you wrong, and it means he will let you, and other people, suffer for his pettiness and pride in the future. Nobody should let him think that's okay. Not the a-hole. Ask your mom why your stepdad's behavior is acceptable. She was ready and willing to apologize, so clearly she recognizes that you and Rory were wronged by being falsely accused, with zero evidence to back it up. Is apologizing to people we've wronged not the right thing to do? Not the a-hole. It appears your stepdad is too arrogant to apologize for the false accusation, and if he won't apologize for accusing your brother of committing a felony, why should you be expected to apologize for being rude? I guess your stepdad just has to learn to move on. My mother was much the same way. She, my brother, and my father were at their house when a tornado came in the area. Before they went downstairs to take shelter, my mother took some of her valuables downstairs with her. Later, she couldn't find them and accused my brother of taking them. When looking again, the valuables were found in the drawer under which she normally kept them. What most likely happened is that she put them in the wrong drawer, but she instead said my brother moved them to make her think she was crazy and refused to admit she was wrong. She didn't even want to tell my brother that the valuables had been found at first because she was embarrassed.